hello everybody. Hello, good morning or good afternoon to all of our guests from India. Welcome everyone to today's University of Gloucestershire webinar. My name is Tuan Nguyen and I am the Relationship Manager at Glaston Uni for the University of Gloucestershire. We're joined today by University of Gloucestershire colleagues, specifically from the School of Computing. I'll shortly hand over to Carla Stanton, who is the International Marketing and Student Recruitment Manager at UOG for South Asia specifically. But before I do, if I could ask everyone to remain on mute for the duration of the webinar. And as a reminder, we are also recording the session so that we can share the webinar on. So it's up to you whether you want to leave your webcam on or to switch your webcam off. If you have any questions, we'll have a sort of a session, a 10-minute duration at the end of the meeting for Q&A. But by all means, please enter your questions into the text box and we'll look to answer them towards the end. So thank you very much again for attending today, and I'll hand over to Carla.
Thanks, Tuan. Hello, everybody. Good to see so many of you here this morning, joining us for our session on our courses and our course portfolio within the computing field. As Tuan says, I'm the Regional Manager for South Asia. I work in the International Marketing and Student Recruitment team at the University of Gloucestershire. And I'm really pleased to say that we've been joined by 3 colleagues this morning. So we have Kamal. I think I've just seen Kamal Behkoum, who is the head of school of the School of Computing and Engineering. We have Paul O'Brien with us here. He is the academic subject leader for all of our courses within the creative computing area. And we have Hassan Chizari, who is going to speak to you about the courses we offer within the technical and applied computing field. And he is the course leader for our master's course in cybersecurity. So I'll hand over to start with to Kamal, who is going to give you just a very brief introduction to the School of Computing and Engineering. So over to you, Kamal.
Good morning, everyone. Yes, my name is Kamal Behkoum, Head of School of Computing and Engineering at the university here. The School of Computing and Engineering is based in the very beautiful Park campus in Cheltenham. We have 3 subject communities or departments within the school. Engineering technologies, which is based mainly on Industry 4.0. So we don't do any heavy engineering, we don't do mechanical engineering, although we do mechatronics and systems engineering and electrical and electronic engineering, etc. We also do engineering management. Then we have the creative computing, specializing in game technologies, and Paul O'Brien is the leader in that area. Paul is with us today. And the other subject community is technical and applied computing, specializing in cyber security. And Hassan Chizari is a leader within that community. The academic subject leader for technical and applied computing is Dr. Ali El-Sharbaz. We also are involved in a number of national and international projects related to computing and engineering. Not least, you may be aware that the UK is about to set up a cyber park, which we are not supposed to call cyber park. It's called Cyber Central. If you can think of the Silicon Valley, as far as computing is concerned, that's what we're trying to develop in Cheltenham in the UK. And we are actively participating in the development work within the county and nationally. We're also a member of the Institute of Coding. We are one of 17 universities in the UK who are founding members of the National Institute of Coding. And this particular institute specializing in ensuring that we design software with security at the heart of it. And we design courses and training material that leads to systems that are secure by design. Of course, we bring all that expertise and know-how into our courses. Over the last 3 years or so, we trained more than 800,000 learners across the UK within this institute. And of course, I can tell you a lot more about what we do in cyber and in games, but we have two eminent colleagues here with me who specialize in those two areas. And during the morning, we can have more conversations about courses, research, etc., etc. Is that okay, Carla?
That's brilliant. Yeah, that's fantastic. Thanks very much, Kamal. So we'll hand over to Paul O'Brien now, who's going to give you an overview of all of the courses within the creative computing field. Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Carla. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this webinar. So, I lead what's called the Creative Computing Group within the institution, and this is a broad term in many ways. It involves a range of different courses from artificial intelligence through to computing technologies with some games in the middle. So we have a range of courses at undergraduate and postgraduate level. So applied artificial intelligence essentially looks at programming and mathematics and solving real world problems. The computer games design course involves designing game mechanics and implementing them. Games programming essentially puts those into action by using things like C++ and C# to actually make these games work. And then games art looks at the visual elements in terms of the concepts, the characters, the environments that people actually explore. And then computing technologies looks at the ways in which technology is used by users. So this could be augmented reality, virtual reality, and then the user experience. So it includes things like graphical user interfaces, innovative hardware as well. So they may be using things like touchscreens, magnetic controllers, headsets, etc. And then these courses themselves can then be taken to the postgraduate level. So things like AI and computing technologies leads naturally into data science, and then the games courses leads into games development. So we have quite a few of our own students, as well as those from outside, who progress the studies after undergraduate into postgraduate. So that sort of gives you a flavour of the individual courses. One of the unique things about the games courses, the free games courses, is that they share modules across the 3 different years. So students will work in groups from all different fields there together. So they'll produce games that look good, are workable, and actually have some great interactions in them. And you can only do that if you've got students working from all 3 areas together. You often find with games courses that they're very much separate sort of entities. So those are the sort of courses that we offer here in creative computing. And really, I sort of want to really focus more about what the opportunities are for students who take these sorts of degrees. And I break this into 2 sort of halves. First is more the creative side of the games. So the games industry at the moment is worth around about $138 billion worldwide. And that's the largest industry within the entertainment sector by some margin. And we see the predictions for that as growing quite considerably over the next 5 to 10 years. An interesting thing, I don't know if anyone's heard of Fortnite, which came on the market a few years ago, 2018, developed by Epic. That generated $9 billion in revenue in just 2 years, which is a phenomenal amount of money. During the pandemic, as you probably can imagine, the people using games, playing games, has continued to grow, and the skills required are in high demand. We're finding that our students are getting jobs in the industry relatively quickly once they graduate. On the other side, sort of more technical side, I guess, so data science, that's got a market revenue for 2021 predicted to be around about 64 billion, with AI around about 53 billion. This itself is predicted to grow to 309 billion in the next 5 years. And essentially, these are where the future and employability opportunities are. And we need to have people with the right skills in AI, data science, technology, software, and computing in general. And if nothing else, COVID-19 has taught us that many of the students essentially need to have technology-based skills, because they're essentially going to be important for their future employability. That's the key thing for them, is learning practical hands-on skills, and all the courses that we teach here are practical in nature. They teach them real-world skills to get real jobs post-graduation. So within the course group, we teach a range of skills. So depending on the actual specific course they're taking, they'll depend on how much they get of this. But from design to programming and everything in between. So mathematics, logic, programming, data analysis, animation, 2D, 3D art, visual effects, scripting, etc. These are all the sorts of skills the students are going to get from these courses. And they are used, as you can probably imagine, in a wide range of industries, both small and large. So so people like IBM, Microsoft, smaller companies such as, say, Neon Players, local company to not far from us. Games are built for entertainment primarily, but again, from COVID, we've sort of seen a massive increase of games being developed for serious games for training, for e-learning, for blended learning opportunities. So developing something that teaches people how to do something. The sort of skills they also get were things related around web development, mobile apps, the wider digital media and visual effects industries, and simulations as well. So loads of different things the students are going to get from these courses. But it's not just about those practical, technical, and creative skills that students get. It's also about the graduate skills, the sorts of things that we like to emphasize about students learning to solve problems. We set them a problem, set them an issue, give them an assignment. It's a problem that they need to solve within a given period of time. And that's the key thing, is teaching to students is how to actually solve a problem, not just leave them to get on with it on their own, but actually hands-on, giving them help and guidance about solving problems, finding the right solution. And that can be done, excuse me, that can be done, will be done, working as an individual very often, individual assignments. But it'll also be working in a team. So students need to be able to, excuse me, take some water. Students need to be able to work independently on their own, but they also need to be effective team workers, work with other people in a team situation, being creative, analysing issues, developing practical solutions that are going to work with the resources available, the skills that they have, the budget they have, etc. And a lot of this is all about communicating ideas. And above all, what we're trying to do is teach students that the things they do are going to change over time. Life changes. The skills they have will change over time. It's going to evolve, and they're going to get new challenges in years to come. So this graduate skill thing is quite an important element for us. In terms of the assessments, how do we assess students? It's 100% coursework. We don't do exams at all. Essentially what we're doing is that we're testing the skills they've learned in real world scenarios. The assessments are industry focused and designed to demonstrate skills and understanding the students have actually learned. So we teach them a range of different things. The assignment then will be demonstrate how they've applied those. And really it's all about them developing a portfolio of work to demonstrate to employers what they're capable of doing post-graduation. So by the end of that course, 3 or 4 years, they will have probably around about 20 to 24 pieces of work that they can show employers what it is they can do. Now, in the creative industries, this is fairly common, particularly say in visual sort of things. It's very common to do that, but we're finding programmers as well. Again, they're developing their portfolios, developing code essentially to demonstrate to employers what they're capable of doing. And so we teach all the students through their assessments the importance of having a good portfolio of work to show employers. So the courses all offer an optional industry placement year, and students can go on placement anywhere in the world. They can go local to Cheltenham, they can go back to wherever they've come from in terms of their home, so maybe in London, in Leeds, Manchester, etc. Or it could be somewhere in Europe, or perhaps even further afield. We have some students in America. We have quite a few students go to Holland over the last few years. That's quite a nice sort of place to visit. I quite like students going on placement in faraway places, because then I can go and visit them. So if anyone wants to go in placement, then I don't know, Hawaii would be quite nice, perhaps. Not been there yet, so that'd be quite good. This photo here, this is of a guy called Kieran Colnett, and he went to Unity, and his placement was really interesting because he was essentially like a brand ambassador or technical ambassador, and his job involved spending a month in different countries around Europe, explaining how Unity do things and demonstrating how Unity do things. So it's a technical role as well as a support role. And so he did that, and we've had students go to Unity every year for the last 4 years now, and the 5th one's about Susanna. She's about to start in July, I think, which is awesome. So students can go on placement with any company. It can be a small company, a large company. Sometimes they develop their own companies as part of their placements, becoming a fairly common thing. So there's lots of opportunities there for students to put into practice the skills they've learned during their first 2 years. We have a wide range of industry links. I've just picked a couple of ones here from the game sector in particular. So Neon Play is a company based in Cirencester, so that's about 20 minutes drive away from the Cheltenham Park campus. So here we have, this is Mark Allen, he's their technical director, and he came in, comes in quite regularly to be honest, but he came in to talk to students, look at student work, give them feedback on what they're doing. And then the picture there on the right is Rebellion, which is based in Oxford, so a fairly large company. And so we took some of our students there to visit their studios and see what they were doing. Again, Oxford's about an hour's drive or so away from Cheltenham. We have staff who work both at Neon Play and at Rebellion as well as other places, so part of the actual team. But it's not just about the technical, practical skills that students learn. It's also about those extracurricular activities that we put on as part of the course. So from hackathons to games jams. So these tend to be sort of prize giving, so sort of minor prizes that students will get for taking part in these. So it's voluntary. They take part in these, and they may be time limited. So like a 24-hour hackathon or a 48-hour games jam where students work together in a short period of time, in a tense sort of period, to produce something that to a brief. And these are good to sort of they put the sort of skills they've learned into demonstrate to them quite quickly what it is they learned and what they need to learn further from taking part in these. And they might do this as part of a national competition as well. So the Brains Eden hasn't taken place this year because of COVID, but in previous years we've taken a team to that. We've been successful getting a team into that. And again, that works over, that's a 3-day games jam and takes place at Anglian Ruskin University. So these are the sorts of extracurricular activities we do. The Get a Grip one's interesting because that was started off as a games jam challenge, but then the students, there's 4 students that took part in it and developed it, and they got funding from Microsoft to take it further and develop it into a game to be released on the app stores. I think they got £20,000 to sort of develop it over a 6-month period. So these sorts of things that can help people monetize the skills that they learned at university. We also like to take students out on field trips and getting out into the real world, particularly for students that are going to conferences such as Reboot, Everything Procedural conference here, as students take them to that. EGX is a big conference that takes, or games conference that takes place normally twice a year in the UK. Very often it's in Birmingham and London, and the last one, both of them were in London. So we take students to that. And then we also get them to do things like paintballing. So this is me, and I think this is me being shot by a colleague, not a student. I think they were trying to get a message there somehow. But these are quite good for developing team bonding, relationships with students, and they do with staff. The ski one, that was based on assignment. So we had the students take developing a ski-based app And so to be able to do that, had to understand what it was like to ski or snowboard. So we took them to Bulgaria to learn how to board and ski over a 3 or 4 day period. And that basically helped inform the design process, sort of make sure they were doing the right sorts of things. Last couple of bits. So we have an end of year show. We just had one for this year, about a week ago. It was called Comex. It was on the 4th of June. And this year it was a virtual event. Normally it's a live event where students essentially have a hall or a space somewhere they set up stands. So this is from a couple of years ago, these photographs here. This year's event was a virtual one, but we did a live stream, and you can see that on YouTube. There's a link via our blog, which I've got at the end of this presentation. So you can have a look at that and sort of see things we do. And basically, the students we work, say, on a project for 6 months, a year, and they demonstrate it to the public, to potential employers, the sorts of things they do. And this is an example of extracurricular activities that helps develop their communication skills in particular. Just to finally, I think, note, we use industry standard hardware and software throughout. So we're not using lots of freeware sort of type software. Everything is commercially used in the AI, data science, and games industries, whether it be the creative cloud, so from Adobe, ZBrush, Unity, Unreal, C++, C#. These are all commercial software platforms that we're using, and the hardware we have as well, from headsets to tablets, drawing tablets, etc., are all available for the students to use, to borrow, take out, use at home, etc. We supply all that to the students as standard. The facilities we have, there is a virtual tour available on the blog, which I'll show in a moment. So you can have a look at the Waterworth building, which is where we're based at the Park campus, which was new about 5 years ago. And this has got sort of breakout spaces for students to use, to meet staff, to meet each other, working teams. Excuse me. And everything is on one campus, key thing. We refresh our PCs very regularly, and the new lab that's going in this year will be having i7s with 32 gigs of RAM and dedicated graphics cards. So I'm quite looking forward to trying these out actually come August, September, when they become live. So these are all available for the students. The students can use the facilities 24/7. So this is the last one. Why study with us? We have a studio setting with discipline where disciplines can collaborate with each other. Flexible courses, lots of opportunities to specialize, using industry standard tools and techniques. Relatively low staff-student ratio, roughly around about 20:1. We have excellent employability rates, great facilities, and very supportive staff. And I think I'm now going to. Oh, sorry. There's a blog there. If we have time, I'll show the video. But I think I'm conscious I've been talking for quite a bit now. I'll show a video showcase and show the blog at the end if there's time, if people would like to see that. But the link is there available and made public to you as well. Back to
Thanks
you,
very much, Paul. Cheers. There's a couple of quick questions we can maybe take whilst Hassan gets his slides ready. Somebody's asking, with the data science course, is down as the MSc, sorry, is 18 months. Does that include a placement component?
They can do a placement as part of it if they want to, yes.
Yeah, and how long would that be, Paul, typically?
Normally for 6 months.
Yeah, okay. And just to make clear, obviously, that students would get help, obviously, with finding a placement and sort of prepping themselves for interviews and things like that to secure it.
We have a dedicated placements team based on the Park campus who have a range of jobs, and they provide support with CV, letter writing, interview practice. And the tutors will also do that as well. So, for example, we put all the level 5, the second year students, through an interview process, a test interview process, prior to them going out on placement this year. So we did this back in March, I think it was. It's a very important element. So they produce a CV, they get feedback on their CV, and then they're interviewed by people they don't know as part of that. So, and then they we video that so they can have it, analyze it afterwards to see what works and what could be improved.
Fabulous, thanks, Paul. One other just quick one around the intake. I think at the moment we just have an intake in January, is that correct?
Yes, the first intake,
sorry, for data science, yeah.
For data science is in January, that's correct, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Are there any plans to have a September intake? Maybe not for this year, but for the following year?
I think the normal plan would be to have September as a regular intake, and then we'll sort of see where it goes. If obviously there's enough uptake, then we'd have 2 intakes a year. Yeah,
fine, great, okay. MSc Game Development. I'll just take one quick question. Difference between part-time and full-time? Obviously, just to mention before that, before Paul answers that, is obviously students on a student route visa would not be able to study the course part-time. They have to come on a full-time programme. But I don't know if you wanted to comment just very quickly, Paul, on the main difference between part-time and full-time for game development.
Yeah, it applies to all the courses, really. All the courses generally, in terms of certainly home students anyway, can be taken part-time at the rate that's more suitable to the students. So typically it takes twice as long, so they do half the modules compared to full-time students, but it's actually fairly flexible. Some students have taken longer to do it, and sometimes they do a little bit of part-time for 1 year and then they go back to full-time, etc. So it varies depending on the students' requirements. And what we normally do is sit down with them and work out a dedicated timetable that's going to work for them prior to starting the course.
Brilliant, thanks very much, Paul. We'll head over to Hassan now, and he will be speaking to you all about the courses within our technical and applied computing area. Thanks, Hassan.
Hi, may I have your confirmation that you can see my screen?
Yeah, can see it.
Hi, everyone. My name is Hassan Chizari, and I'm presenting on behalf of Ali Al-Shirbaz, who's the academic subject leader for technical and applied computing. I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview of the university itself first, and the campus that we have. We at University of Gloucestershire, we are at the heart of UK, let's say. We are on the southwest, quite close to London, 2 hours distance, and also close to Birmingham, Bath, Bristol, and Oxford universities. This is a very long-established university and education center from 1834. We are actually in a very nice place in UK. Cotswold is very close to us, Cleve Hill, Burton on Water. It's a very beautiful place, for students. There are lots of interesting places in Cheltenham, the place that the Park campus is located. And also we are the neighbor of the city, Gloucester City, a big city with so many actually interesting activities going on there, and you will find loads of shops and loads of restaurants which coming from different regions. The Park campus, where we are located, is in Cheltenham, quite close to the train station, so you can easily walk from train station to the Park campus. It's next to several bus stations, so if you're living around, you can easily use buses to get to the Park campus. It's a very beautiful place to be. And in the School of Computing and Engineering, we are offering a range of different courses. It's a start from bachelor's in computer science, cybersecurity, forensic, and MSc in cybersecurity, and a range of PhD programs. We are quite active in research for those who are interested to do postgraduate study with us. We have a specialist on malware analysis, on cryptography analysis. My area of research is randomness. We have an extensive quantum lab, medical security lab, and network security lab. We are in the process of establishing our SDN and ad hoc network lab by coming year. So it's a very advanced area for those who are interested to do postgraduate study with us. A very interesting aspect to Cheltenham is Golden Valley. We are going to be the heart of cybersecurity in UK and perhaps even in Europe. This is a big ambition, and there's a lot of things going on in the region. So being and participating in this area could be quite useful. Coming to Cheltenham and studying cyber is actually be in the heart of all the activities which is going on. There are going to be a huge amount of investment in Cheltenham because of that Golden Valley opportunity, and this opportunities is to expand all those industries and even building new houses and giving people opportunities to come and work as a cyber expert in this area. We have C11, which is a research center, cybersecurity and digital innovation center for which is for University of Gloucestershire. We work closely with C11. C11 is not in Park campus; is located in another in another location, and it's a very secure place. And we are actually finished our annual cyber symposium hosting in C11 yesterday. It was an amazing event, and so many people from industry, big industry names, like BT and Raytheon, they actually participated in that conference. Our students presented their dissertation works and good background. If you have a good background in programming, I would definitely encourage you to choose this course. There are a big range of modules that we are teaching. If you look at these different modules, you will see the diversity of things that you're going to learn in that computer science course at bachelor level. With these skills that you're going to learn, you will be able to move to system analysis, work as a system analyst, software engineer, database administrator, big data analysis, and software architecture. The next is actually my favorite, cyber and computer security. We shouldn't have favorites, but I have. So in this course, students are specifically learn stuff about cybersecurity, cyber terrorism, ethical hacking, and penetration testing. It's a very focused course, and you are learning stuff which is related to that cybersecurity. One of my favorite subjects in this course is network security, which you get to use our extensive Cisco lab. So students actually have the opportunity to work with switches, routers, and firewalls through a year-long module, and you will learn how to configure them, how to design a network to be secure. In addition to that, you will learn advanced technologies like software-defined networking, ad hoc networks, ethical hacking, malware analysis, and so on. It's easy to say where you go when you do your cybersecurity. Of course, any cybersecurity job out there, things like security consultants, chief security officer, penetration tester, and of course, security analysis could be the jobs which students are going on. I've seen students who even before finishing the course, they already got the job offer in bachelor level. Yesterday, when we had this discussion in the symposium with the industry leaders about the jobs in cybersecurity, they were all admitting that at the moment, especially in the area that we are, there is lack of experts, and it's still a huge path to get to the place that we say, yeah, we saturated with experts. We're still a long way to that level. So we definitely need so many experts in cybersecurity and computing. And the next one is actually cyber forensic. The cyber forensic guys, they have a saying to cybersecurity people. They're saying, okay, you guys go and try secure things, but when you mess up, we come and claim, and we come and we find out what was wrong. So the cyber forensic is a very interesting course. He's looking at how to recover data, how to look at evidence, how to get to some conclusion that how the attack happened, who's how to identify that attacker, and how even to represent that data legally and ethically in a court. And you will see a range of different modules in this. They're using very advanced devices. They're very expensive ones, which I would really like to get a hands on, but I'm not expert there at all. This is our cyber forensic course, and of course, for those who are graduating from this course, there are a range of different jobs which they can go, like law enforcement, insurance assessors, data recovery specialists, and so on. And finally, MSc Cyber Security. I am the course leader for MSc Cyber Security, so I can actually discuss this a bit more if you are interested to do postgraduate study with us in MSc Cyber Security. We are delivering MSc Cybersecurity a bit different from other courses. So this is a packed mode delivery. It's a 1 year long only. And we are delivering modules in 1 week and then 3 weeks of self-study, and then we move to the next module. So you do one module, you submit the assignment, and you move to the next module. It's very focused. So at each time, you only have one module to think about, to prepare, and to submit. It's very focused, and it's a very interesting one with very advanced lab. We especially prepared for MSc Cybersecurity. Of course, there are a range of different jobs you can go from MSc Cybersecurity. If you remember, I said in the BSc Cybersecurity that students, some of them are getting jobs even before the course is finished. For MSc, this is much, much more serious. I had one MSc student who secured a job when he was in the first semester of studying it. He just started to study MSc, and he secured a job right after having the first module passed. For MSc students, I haven't came across any student, I'm actually expressing it again, any student who was struggling to find a job at the end of finishing the course. It's a very interesting course, and I encourage anyone who is actually in this level to do MSc Cybersecurity to join us. And of course, at the university, we are helping students. We are collaborating with big industry and SMEs to find out, how we can help our students to get to that employment. This is the main, perspective to make sure that the output of the university is actually move on to the employment. Once again, we have that placement scheme, and students, if they like, after the second year in BSc, they go to a 12-month paid work as their placement. This is something that we usually encourage. So students do that placement, and then they come back and they do the last year in BSc level. We have quite a huge number of links with industry, and we usually help students to get to that placement. But it's for the student to prepare and go to that interview and secure it. But we try our best to introduce the links, help them to get prepared, and push them toward that placement. And of course, as Paul said before, it's not just work. We have loads of different activities. Of course, not the last year for obvious reasons, but we had the one which I very liked was the mini golf. Of course, the lecturers, they've done that paintballing, but I'm not that much of a shooter, so it's not something it's not my cup of tea. So I like the mini golf the best. But when you join us, you will actually see all those activities coming, and I hope that you've been motivated to join us. And that was the end of my presentation.